Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin bubble news channel. The Nasdaq is down 99.97% when I split it by Bitcoin. This is the best thing you own. In a world where everything is connected and controlled by the same forces, it makes sense to only own one object, which is crypto. This is a strange idea. The next question is, okay, which cryptocurrency is running faster anything vs. Bitcoin and anything vs. Ethereum can be shown on maps, and anything that looks like it's breaking out against those was sold. Now it's my job to compare anything to Solana. Yes, but Solana is a big job. That's why I won't put my whole life savings into a small matter, even if it has one or more of the means. Still, Solana is big enough and has big enough network effects for me to say. The CEO of Real Vision, Raul Pal, is very optimistic about crypto right now. This is why. Putting the Nasdaq up against Bitcoin, he says that the Nasdaq has done 99.97% worse. In this case, Bitcoin's big success advantage over traditional stock indices is shown. Powell says that investors should focus on having the asset that is doing the best because many assets are linked and affected by the same macroeconomic forces. He thinks that Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana are the best investments in the crypto space. Another story on WatcherGura says that the recent filing of ARK21 shares in VanEck for a possible Solana ETF could cause the price of Solana to go up. The market now has more faith in Solana because of these reports. CoinCodex thinks that the price of Sol will slowly go up and could hit $170 by August 1, 2024. But the estimate also says that the price will go down a little before it goes up a lot and goes over $150 after mid-July. The bananas are still green on the tree, but they're getting ripe. Every election year in the US, the banana zone starts sometime in the summer and ends as late as September. But I believe it has begun now. I believe that the price of cryptocurrencies has reached its low point for the week. Going forward, prices should start to rise again. The banana zone should speed up before the US election. After the election, things generally slow down a bit while people figure out what's going on, but by the end of the year, things get really crazy. That means I'm fully in the banana zone. Just wait for a little while longer. The world owes too much money. We broke the world in 2008. Almost every country in the world owed more than their GDP, and the banking system broke down. Back then, we set interest rates to 0, and it's been this way for 3 to 5 years. During this time, everyone resets all of their loans. There isn't enough GDP to pay off the bills of both the public and private sectors right now. Once we got past 2008, we saw that the main central banks just printed money through liquidity measures, such as quantitative easing. And making new money helps pay off bills with interest. Now, when you make money, the value of the money goes down. Also, when you debase the money, you really debase it. Because the number is going down, it looks like the prices of assets are going up. We see that they start to add funding every 4 years, from the beginning of this cycle to the end of year 3. In the 4th year, they're really adding cash. They keep adding cash in the 5th year of the debt cycle, but then they slow down again, and the cycle keeps going. We get this 3-year cash flow. That makes all assets go up, but long-term assets like crypto and tech go up the most. This strong force is what makes almost all items work. There is a 97.5% link between the Nasdaq and this way of adding liquidity. Crypto has an association of 87.5%. There is less of a link between them because it keeps making these huge exponential moves. It dawned on me that the world debasement rate means that we're actually losing 8% of our value every year. That's the rise in global cash from the world's main banks. That, then, was our level of concern for asset prices plus the rate of inflation. For ease of maths, let's say that inflation around the world is 4%. That's 12%. We need to put money into things before we even break even. If we don't, there will be less money in our future because we won't be able to buy enough goods as prices rise. Our purchases don't bring in enough money to make up for the loss of value. I found that only 2 assets actually do better than the world liquidity when I divided all of them by it. The others don't go anywhere. And the 2 assets are tech stocks, which are in a long-term bull market. It will be more digital tomorrow than it is now. Also, crypto is being used more quickly than any other tool the world has ever seen. That's what my Everything Code cycle was based on. It helps us figure out how prices change over time. If we can predict these liquidity flows because we know what they're supporting, it might even let us guess prices ahead of time. The design looks way too simple, and it probably is, but it seems to work. That's what I'll do for now. Last time I didn't take gains. but I didn't want to because I learned that the best way to build wealth is to hold on to it over time and add to it when it goes down in value. This may sound dramatic, but it's actually the best way to build wealth. You won't put 10 back in if the market goes from 1 to 10 in a bull market and then drops 80%. You won't because you don't like taking chances. I also can't lose everything. Your thoughts will trick you. So you just leave it there and say, okay, I have a longer term view, but there are people who want to cash in some lifestyle chips or lower their risk. Then you cash out some money at the end of the year or the beginning of next year, and then you just ride the rest. Does it reach its peak early? We're not sure. Does it always reach its highest point near the end of the year? Perhaps. Is there a blow off top? Perhaps. I'm not sure. We're not sure. So you need to make sure ahead of time that you don't expect the blow off top. You took some money away. You can take off more if it does blow off the top. You just keep running it if not. As a general rule, people younger than 30 or 35 shouldn't do anything, unless they have enough money saved up that 25% off could buy them a house or something else that would change their life and raise their standard of living. You shouldn't do anything if not. Just ask yourself, how can I buy more? It's sold. There needs to be about 4 billion people for the acceptance curve to be full. It's worth $2.5 trillion right now as an asset class. You can use Bitcoin's log regression channel to figure out how much it will be worth in 2032 if you compare its growth rates to those of the internet and believe that they will slow down a lot from here on out. Now, we use numbers like $100 trillion all the time. You need to know that for every $100 trillion, we're making $97.5 trillion in new money. In the history of written history, that is the most money ever made in the shortest amount of time. When you think about how the US economy and those companies have grown their value over the past 100 years, the S&P 500 has a market value of $50 trillion. That amount is doubled. It's something we've never seen before. That's why it's a unique chance. Now, how much of that 100 trillion will Bitcoin make up of that market? Not at all. Because to get to 100 trillion, we need to use the whole blockchain infrastructure for everything, not just Bitcoin as money or a way to store wealth. This includes the financial system, Web 2 companies, and everything else. What would Bitcoin be worth if the world were made up of only trillions of dollars? It could be 20 trillion. It could be 15 trillion or some other number. In other words, the area as a whole will grow. If it's the fastest growth in wealth in history, lots of different kinds of people will want to help. When people talk about the California gold rush, they talk about wildcat miners, con artists, and thieves. It's clear in the oil and gas business. We see it all over the internet in the gold business. The Nigerian print scam is made possible by the ease with which money can move on the internet. We're going to see it here, of course. It's hard to stay away from it. There is crime whenever there is a lot of extra money around. It's clear in China. Bad people are always around places where there is easy access to new money.